Hello everyone. Now we shall go with the flexural strength of the PSC members. That is third module. In the flexural analysis, that is in the third module, we have analysis part as well as design part for the members. That is PSC members subjected to flexural strength. In the theory part, we have the different following parameters that will going to govern the flexural strength of the members. It includes percentage of reinforcement in the sections, degree of bond within the tendon and concrete, compressive strength of concrete, and ultimate tensile strength of the tendon. Based on these parameters, we'll be having 6 type of flexural failures in case of PSC members. Those are fracture of steel in the tension, failure of under reinforced section, failure of over reinforced section, shear failures, failure of bond between steel and concrete, and also anchorage failures. We shall go through one by one. Fracture of steel in tendon. Fracture of steel in tension means it means that when you provide the percentage of reinforcement less than for a balanced section, it means that the steel will going to attain its ultimate tensile value. Usually concrete fail, PSC member fails means there will be failure of the steel or concrete. Steel fails first means it means that the steel will going to attain its ultimate value. If the concrete will going to fail first means the concrete will going to attain the ultimate strength value when compared to the steel. Now we shall concentrate on the fracture of steel in the tension. It includes that the steel will going to fail first. Steel ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ರೀಚ್ ಆಗಿ ಫೇಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹಂಗಾದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ರಿಇನ್ಫೋರ್ಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ? IS 1343/1980 has prescribed minimum of 0.2% of the cross sectional area as the minimum longitudinal reinforcement for the PSC members. Suppose if you are going to use HYST bars, that is high yield strength deformed bars for the design of the PSC members, then you can restrict the minimum longitudinal reinforcement to 0.15% of the cross sectional area. This provision can be seen in the page number 37 of the IS 1343/1980. ಈ ಪ್ರಾವಿಷನ್ ಅನ್ನು ನೋಡಬಹುದು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಫ್ರಾಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಟೀಲ್ ಪ್ರಿವೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ we need to provide the minimum requirements for the PSC member, minimum percentage of steel for the flexural members. Okay, that is one thing. Failure of under reinforced section. In the RCC, we have seen that there are different types of sections, that is under reinforced sections, over reinforced section, and also balanced section. Under reinforced section, what do you mean by under reinforced section? In case of under reinforced sections, the steel will going to attain its ultimate value first when compared to the concrete. Andre, when compared to the concrete, steel will going to fail first. Steel, why the steel will going to fail first means the steel will going to attain its ultimate value first. Then what happens, there will be the different larger deflections and also wide cracks we can observe in case of the under reinforced section. Under reinforced section signs ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ those are the larger deflections and wide cracks, and also these type of sections are desirable because it will going to give the warning before the failure. Larger deflection ಆಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅಥವಾ wide cracks develop ಆಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಒಂಥರ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ the section will going to fail. So these type of sections are usually preferred, under reinforced section. ಇದರಿಂದ ಕೂಡ flexural failure ಆಗಬಹುದು. Then we have the failure of over reinforced sections. Over reinforced section ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಫೇಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ means the concrete will go over reinforced, ಅಂದ್ರೆ reinforcement ನ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ. reinforcement ನ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, reinforcement ಫೇಲ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಫೇಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? ಕಾಂಕ್ರೀಟ್ ಫೇಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Concrete is a brittle material. Since it is a brittle material, the failure will be brittle in nature, means there will be sudden failure or collapse of the structural members. Hence we are not going to follow, or we are not going to prefer the over reinforced section. ಈ ರೀತಿ over reinforced sections na prefer ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. Then what are the warning signs means there will be formation of the narrow cracks and small deflections. This is for the under reinforced section. Under reinforced section alli enide larger deflection ide and also wide cracks ide. This is for the under reinforced section. Again, if you consider the over reinforced section, here the deflection of the beam is less because we have provided the heavy reinforcement in case of the PSC members. So the deflections are less and also crack width is also too small. There will be no warning signs provided in case of the over reinforced section. There will be warning signs only in case of the under reinforced section because the steel will going to fail. Steel is a ductile material, hence we can observe the ductile type of failure in case of the under reinforced section. Then we have the shear failure. Shear means at the support there may be fracture of the sections. If the sections are not adequately designed for the shear, there will be a fail by the shear before attaining the full flexural strength. Then lateral ties design ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ beams ಅಲ್ಲಿ, that is the shear reinforcement. If the shear reinforcement is not properly designed, then we can also expect the shear type of failure in case of beams. Then we have failure of bond between steel and concrete. Failure of bond. In case of pre-tensioned members, there will be 100% bonding. In case of post-tension members, either it may be bonded or unbonded. Bonded members alli ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಅನ್ಬಾಂಡೆಡ್ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫೇಲ್ಯೂರ್ ಆಗೋ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ anchorage failures. At the ends of the flexural members, we are going to provide the end blocks. These end blocks will going to hold the tensioned steel at the supports. If these end blocks are not properly designed, then it will going to encounter in the form of anchorage failure. These are the major 6 types of failures we are going to observe in case of the flexural failure of the PSC beams. In the exam, this question may be asked, explain the various types of flexural failures in case of PSC members. Means we need to list these 6 types of failures and explain each one of them. The 6 types na list madibittu explain madಬೇಕು. Which are the parameters that we are going to decide? Means you need to mention these 4 parameters. It is to very important. Then coming to the analysis part, we have the different types of section. There is moment of resistance of the rectangular section and moment of resistance of the flange section. So this is a rectangular section. The width of the cross section of the beam is D. The effective depth of the beam is D. So this is the effective depth, small d. The distance between position of top surface of the beam to the position of steel, the center of the position of the steel, it is known as effective depth. Then the distance between bottom of the beam to the center of the reinforcement, that is the effective cover. This effective cover agutte, this effective depth agutte. So this is the neutral axis. At the neutral axis, there will be no stresses. Tensile stresses will be equal to 0 and also compressive stresses will be equal to 0. Above the neutral axis, there will be provision of the compressive stresses. Neutral axis ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ compressive stresses ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Neutral axis ಕೆಳಗಡೆ tensile stresses ಇರುತ್ತೆ. This is the nature of variation of the stress block. I think we have gone through this in case of RCC. ಈ stress block parameter ಅಲ್ಲಿ we can replace this block with a compressive force. C is equal to 0.36 FCK B into XU, and this force will be acting at a distance of 0.42 times XU from the top of the beam. Say now the vertical distance between these two forces, that is compressive force and tensile force, it is known as lever arm. ಆ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ D ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ compressive force ಗೆ 0.42 XU ಇದೆ. Then the distance between these two forces will be equal to D minus 0.42 XU. That is the distance between these two forces. Then how to calculate the moment of resistance of the section? Means we have the formula, moment of resistance is equal to FPU into AP into D minus 0.42 XU. Again, in the code book we have this formula. This is mentioned in the Appendix B of IS 1343/1980. In this code book, that is at the page number 59, we have Appendix B. Appendix B dalli flexural analysis ಗೆ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾನ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So this is the formula. M is equal to FPU into AP into D minus 0.4 to XU, where M is the moment of resistance of the section, FPU is the ultimate tensile strength in the tendon, AP is the area of pre-tensioning tendons, D is the effective depth, and XU is the neutral axis depth. Then coming to the point, then how to calculate the moment of resistance? We have this formula FPU. How to calculate this FPU? FPU na ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? AP it will be given in the problem. Area of the pre-stressing tendon in the problem ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾನೆ. D effective depth ಗೊತ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ 0.4 constant. XU depth of neutral axis. In this whole equation, the unknown is FPU and XU. ಇವೆರಡು ಪ್ಯಾರಾಮೀಟರ್ಸ್ ನ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಮೂಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ನ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ದೆನ್ ಹೌ ಟು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ದೀಸ್ ಟು FPU ಮತ್ತೆ XU ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? Then subsequently you have given the table 11 as well as table 12. ಈ table 11 ಮತ್ತೆ table 12 ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು FPU ಮತ್ತೆ XU ನ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಒಂದು ಟರ್ಮ್ ನ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ. This term, that is AP into FP divided by B into D into FCK. This term is known as effective reinforcement ratio. ಈ ಟರ್ಮ್ ನಾವು effective reinforcement ratio ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೀವಿ. ಈ effective reinforcement ratio ನ ನಾವು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ we can easily calculate these two terms, FPU divided by 0.87 FP and also XU by D. FP it is be given. ಈ ರೇಷಿಯೋ ನ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ we can easily calculate FPU. In the same way XU by D ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ XU ನ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾನೆ? ಫಾರ್ ಪ್ರೀ ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್, ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಸಪರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ XU by D ಫಾರ್ ಪ್ರೀ ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್. ಹಂಗಾದ್ರೆ ಟೇಬಲ್ 11 ಗೂ 12 ಗೂ ಇರೋ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಟೇಬಲ್ ನಂಬರ್ 11 will be used for the both pre-tension as well as post-tension members which are having the effective bond. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಟೇಬಲ್ ನಂಬರ್ 11 ನ ಪ್ರೀ ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಎರಡಕ್ಕೂ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಏನಾಗಿರಬೇಕು? ದೇರ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ದ ಟೆಂಡಾನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದ ಕಾಂಕ್ರೀಟ್. ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಸೇ ಅಟ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರೀ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಸ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡು ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಪ್ರೀ ಟೆನ್ಷನಿಂಗ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಟೆನ್ಷನಿಂಗ್. ಪ್ರೀ ಟೆನ್ಷನಿಂಗ್, prior to the tensioning prior to the concrete you are going to do the tensioning of the steel or tendon. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಪ್ರೀ ಟೆನ್ಷನಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 100% ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಟು ದ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಟೆನ್ಷನಿಂಗ್, ಐದರ್ ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಬಾಂಡೆಡ್ ಒನ್ ಆರ್ ಅನ್ಬಾಂಡೆಡ್ ಒನ್. ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಟೆನ್ಷನಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಲೋ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಡಕ್ಸ್ ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ ಡಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಬಲ್ಸ್ ನ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ದೆನ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಡೂ ದ ಟೆನ್ಷನಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಂಕರಿಂಗ್. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ಟೆನ್ಷನಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಆ ಆನ್ಯುಲರ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಟೆಂಡಾನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೀಲ್ ಸ್ಲರ್ರಿ ಇಂದ ಫಿಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ನ ಹಾಗೆ ವಕೆಂಟ್ ಬಿಟ್ರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಖಾಲಿ ಬಿಟ್ರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅನ್ಬಾಂಡೆಡ್. ಆ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ನ ಫಿಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಟೇಬಲ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಫಾರ್ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲಮ್ ನಂಬರ್ 3 and ಕಾಲಮ್ ನಂಬರ್ 5. Suppose if the space is vacant, then it is called as unbonded tendon. Post tension members ಅಲ್ಲಿ unbonded tendons ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ we need to use the table number 12. Table number 11 is for both pre-tension and post-tension members which are having effective bond. In the same way, table number 12 is used for unbonded post-tension rectangular elements. This is the main difference between table number 11 and table number 12. Table number 11 ನಲ್ಲಿ bonded elements ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಟೇಬಲ್ ನಂಬರ್ 12 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅನ್ಬಾಂಡೆಡ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ನಾವು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಈ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ರಿಇನ್ಫೋರ್ಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋನ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಇದನ್ನ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ FPU ಮತ್ತೆ XU ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ನ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. In the other part of the notes, I have given the procedure to calculate moment of resistance. ಈ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಟೇಬಲ್ ನಂಬರ್ 11 is used for the both pre-tensioned and post-tensioned members which are having the effective bond, and also table number 12 is used for only post-tensioned beams which are having unbonded tendons. ಇದು rectangular section. And also we have the flanged sections. Flanged section means there will be provision of flange and the web. Flange ಮತ್ತೆ web ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ flanged regions ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡು ಕೇಸಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಲ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಫ್ಲಾಂಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಮೊಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಲ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ವೆಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಮೊಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ. In the general formula, suppose if the neutral axis lies in the flange, we need to treat it as a rectangular section. As it is, we are going to follow the same thing. ಅದೇ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ರೆಕ್ಟಾಂಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಏನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೀವೋ ಅದೇ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. m is equal to FPU into AP into D minus 0.42 into XU. ಅದೇ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸಪೋಸ್ if the neutral axis lies in the web, ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಂಡೆಡ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ಬಾಂಡೆಡ್ ಇದೆ, ಪ್ರೀ ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಟೆನ್ಷನ್. ಬಾಂಡೆಡ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಟೇಬಲ್ ನಂಬರ್ 11 ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ is unbonded, in case of post tension, we need to use the table number 12. Suppose the neutral axis lies in the web, then we need to calculate the moment of resistance of the web separate, then moment of resistance of the flange separate, then finally we are going to add the moment of resistance of flange and moment of resistance of web, so that this algebraic summation will be equal to total moment carrying capacity of the flanged section. ಇದನ್ನ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? First we need to find out the effective reinforcement ratio, AP, FP. Flanged section ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ breadth of flange ನ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, B suffix F D into FCT. ಈ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು then we need to find out the FPU divided by 0.87 FP and XU by D from table number 11 if it is a bonded one. If this XU is exceeding the depth of flange, we need to use this formula to calculate APF and APW. APF is the APW ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. APF means area of the pre-stressing required for the flanged region. APW will be the area of pre-stressing tendon for the web region. Again, we need to find out the new effective reinforcement ratio, that is APW, FP, VW, D, FCK. Then from table number 11, we can calculate FPU and XU. Then finally, we need to substitute all the values so that we can obtain the moment of resistance of the flanged bonded sections. If it is a unbonded, then will FP irodu FPE ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. And also in addition, we need to calculate the L by D ratio. L means effective span, D means effective depth. ಈ ರೇಷಿಯೋನ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಅದರಿಂದ ಟೇಬಲ್ ನಂಬರ್ 12 ಅಲ್ಲಿ FPU ಮತ್ತೆ XU ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. Again, we have the same formula to calculate APF and APW. Only change is FP will be changing from FP to FPE. It is effective pre-stressing force after all the losses in case of post tension members. Again, we have this formula to calculate the moment of resistance of the section. Only thing is we need to calculate the moment of resistance of flange and web region separately. If the neutral axis lies inside the web, ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಲ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಏನಾದರೂ ಫ್ಲಾಂಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ರೆಕ್ಟಾಂಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವೋ ಅದೇ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು we can calculate the moment of resistance of flanged section. If the neutral axis lies in the web region, then we need to calculate the moment of resistance of flange separately and moment of resistance of web separately. In detail problem na explain ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಿಮಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Just go through the procedure. This is the general introduction class for the analysis of the flexural members. In the next class we shall go through the problems. Problems ನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನ್ ಡಾಟಾ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾನೆ, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡೋಣ. This is about the introduction class.